performed astonishing maneuvers in front of stunned eyewitnesses and then somehow took control of the launch system. The missiles aimed at the U.S. were suddenly fired up. Launch control codes were somehow entered, and the base was unable to stop what could have been initiated World War III. Then, just as suddenly, the UFOs disappeared and the launch control system shut down. I mean, if you're not concerned about national security with this issue, I mean, that pretty much sums it up right there. If that's all true, and again, you talk about George Knapp's credibility, it's really alarming.
Well, and oddly enough, an event like that happened in the United States of America. You can research it. I can't recall the name of it right now, but it's been pretty well documented that the UFOs were sighted over a nuclear installation, and it was completely shut down, and they couldn't figure out what was going on with it. And to this day, they're not sure, other than the fact that there were UFOs flying around it. And that was actually alluded to in the Intelligence Committee's only open meeting that they had concerning this issue. It was asked by one of the congressional members about that specific incident. And of course, the gentleman who headed that program for the Pentagon couldn't spell UFOs, much less UAP. They had no clue what he was talking about. I'm sure they went back and asked their grandkids, and their grandkids probably did Google it and learned that.
Yeah, we just spent the last hour going over all of the highlights of the hearing from Wednesday, but when you talk about the nuclear site, there's so much that didn't come out. It seems like this is just the tip of the iceberg.
Very much so. We're going to start. I would hope that Speaker McCarthy, and I would hope that the American public would contact their legislators and say, hey, their congressional legislators and their senators, say this is something of a serious nature. We want to know what the heck's going on, and why are y'all covering it up? And why do we keep funding a Pentagon that loses over $1 billion a year, that has never passed an audit? Yet they're coming to us now, whispering in some members here, hey, we need to study this, we need to get ahead of this, send us more money, when in fact, they've been asleep at the switch, and they haven't been asleep at the switch. They know exactly what's going on.
So they're already asking for more money? They're already asking for more money after the hearing?
Why, sure. They've already started, look at Chuck Schumer's bill. That's going to cost money. I don't know how much, but that's going to cost money. I've said all along, NASA, Pentagon, all of our Department of Defense, turn loose your files. Quit sending us these redacted files that look like a piece of Swiss cheese, like somebody shot it with a 12-gauge shotgun. You can't make out heads or tails maybe today. That's about it on it. And they don't, it just continued to be covered up. Legislation just said, you're a and you are going to send a report to the FAA about a sighting or a UFO or what have you. That report will be sent to Congress. Yet by the intelligence community. These people do not have them elected. They're not elected. They're appointed. They're sitting behind some desk over there at the Pentagon or somewhere. And they're making decisions, and they're laughing at us. They're laughing at us because they know we don't. Listen, I'm going to there's a couple of us, Jim Jordan, myself, and some others, that have said, Luna and Gates have all said that we need to get to the bottom of what's going on with the Pentagon, but, it's something we got to cut off.
Yeah, I think it's interesting, Congressman. One of the things that seems like the government seems to be doing a lot of is the possibility of the secret government program and the money. Where the funds coming from? Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, someone that people normally agree with, she spoke out on Wednesday also social media and talk.
Do I think something is going on? Yes. There were specific contractors named. There were programs that were being used that were named. And do I think there are rounds that spread further? Yes. Do I know what it is? Am I going to be a hater? But I'm always interested in cover-ups. Like, that's my thing.
I saw you tweet that friend, but it is interesting that you guys have agreement on this issue.
At the same time, I called Bush, she called me Birch, we were fine. questionings, if you saw my second or third line of questionings, I just went down. And I got down to the point where that exactly what's going on. It's unchecked money. They're overcharging people for stuff, and they're using that. And what the hell they're using for? Well, I'll tell you, it's covering up the biggest issue that will face us in our lifetime, and that is their life.
Yeah, it's the question that has all of us fascinated. You mentioned during the hearings that you wanted to get more information. Are there plans to make that happen?
Yeah, but Representative Luna from in charge of that, she was denied, and through no fault of her own. I'm trying to get to the point so you know what the heck's going on. We've got to get to the bottom of this. You brush this under the carpet, it's going to stink. People are going to come unglued, and they should. We're just bottom of it eventually. I just hope it's in my life.
What do you make of the government contractors? You said government contractors you think of Lockheed Martin in terms of what they know about you. Lockheed Martin did write us back their official statement are best addressed by the U.S. government. What do you think of that?
Well, you can't go for the folks watching. That's a freedom of information. You can't ask for that from a private business, nor can I as a congressman. So what they do is it's been handed off since the 40s, I guess. And that associates from us for contracts with who knows what. And then the people I'm working on, analyzing a piece of metal or when you start its public record and public, start looking at these financial disclosures of these elected officials, the ones that are in top positions, and just see what grade train they're on, and you might see why they push the envelope on these questions.
Well, it's interesting. It's not hard to figure out the ones who don't want to talk about it, don't want to do the interviews, or nowhere near hearing these things go on. It doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure that out. One thing I wondered about, and you said there was going to be about a half dozen witnesses. The end up being 3 witnesses. Was there a plan to have more?
Yeah. We had one tell us that he'd received a call from, I guess, the Pentagon, and he or she decided that it wasn't best that they were longer. He had somebody with an affiliation with NASA. This is news to us. But anyway, they backed out at the end. And we had backed out, and we just had so many roadblocks. For me, the press, myself, and actually, one of your colleagues put his microphone down. His press conference, right? I said, yeah, tomorrow, whenever. He said, well, they put you in a room that's under construction, and that is tiny. I said, this is a big deal. Man, so I got to make sure. And, and staff, David wasn't reliable. That's not like a position to do that. See, that is the swamp. You got some contractor or some friend or somebody, in Congress because they went on to overseas and they let their guard down. And that's exactly that way there's honeypots in our own well, they're just dirty. And so, this is the whole thing just stinks from top to bottom. Every step
I'm very interested in one of the witnesses to that Pentagon was that someone who was also
Yeah, you know, we get these names, I've been in maybe 40 years, I was a kid, 50 years, I guess. And so these names keep popping up, and you read about it, research them, they're and they want to talk, and they might want to talk, and then you get all of them, and they say, in fact, yes, I do want to talk, and then they start backing out, you know, and I've told them about a lot of people, I need to be careful, and, you know, and I don't know what I'm doing, and you know, the Congress members telling me that, you know, they actually had several Congress, pretty reputable Congress, they've had sightings, and they described some pretty interesting things that have happened to them, but they want to, I say, no, I want to be acknowledged, but I want you to know that I'm not against you unless I've seen something that was not, I could not describe.
I think there's still an embarrassment. I thank you for being so open with us throughout this entire process, and we look forward to talking more and topics for coming on.
Thank you, Brian. You can always call me Tim. And if it wasn't because of your persistent nature on this issue, it is very overwhelming. I just can't imagine God's great, incredible universe that we're the best that He can do.
Yeah, we'll stay on it. We'll get you to see what else. Thank you so much for coming on, Congressman. I want to bring up new developments with co-work with the British government, investigating UFOs, and then enhancing this former FBI. First of all, I want to ask you, Ben, very interesting, that's the first time I've heard him say that. I wonder if and then it went down to 3, and I was wondering if someone would intimidate me. Sounds like that's what happened.
I mean, that's great to hear that kind of behind the scenes. We all hear the rumors of who the witnesses might be because we know others were interviewed. I mean, both Nick and I know because they've been, you know, kind of active on social media. We were expecting to hear from the Malmstrom case and witnesses there that witnessed the 1967 missile shutdown, right? And dovetails exactly with what George Knapp just came out with. So I do believe, though, there is plenty of room for the year to hear from some of these other.
What do you make of, Nick, this new information that came out of George Knapp's letter involving Russia? I mean, that really takes it to the next level. That they've had 40-some encounters, that they actually had a UFO shut down and a missile base at one point. Really alarming stuff.
Yeah, it's a timely reminder that this is a global phenomenon, and certainly Russia had and still has a program looking at this. China has a program looking at it. The UK, of course, where I work. I'm intrigued. There are missiles being shut down. There are missiles being put into their pre-launch sequence. Most disturbing, well, almost as disturbing, these shoot-downs, or these attempted shoot-downs. I've heard 3 previous stories, but not from Russia. One actually from the UK, of aircraft ordered to shoot down. The UFO moved on. One from Iran, where the actual aircraft systems were disabled, and one from Peru, where he did shoot the thing, and he said the rounds were hit it, but got absorbed. So fascinating to hear that there are Russian ones too.
It's interesting, the head of the All-Domain Anomaly Resolution Office, the people who are supposed to be investigating they apparently didn't like the way they came across during this hearing. And Dr. Kirkpatrick, who's the head of Arrow, put out a personal statement. It wasn't a statement issued to the government. It was actually Kirkpatrick, this personal letter. I wanted to be a part of it because he's very, very upset. I'm deeply disappointed at the dedication of players, dedication of and inhaling from the Department of Defense Intelligence and partners who are pouring their hearts out working on behalf of Congress. Finally, the nuclear Arrow has yet to find any credible evidence to support the allegations of any reverse engineering programs for non-human technology. It seems like the person is offended by what the witnesses said.
So I empathize for and I try to play devil's advocate because I do think it's hard for Paco to do it. I remember he came out a couple months ago with co-authoring a paper with Avi of the Harvard professor, right? Mainstream media took that, a lot of them, with a Harvard professor and director of Aero, that there's a mothership possibly orbiting. That was not at all what they said. So that was his initiation into this. And so now, ex parte hearing, so the other parties come back. They say he felt offended. I don't know what it's both out and so just don't know that it's not. It's over the next half an hour or so. More whistleblowers are coming forward, especially pilots. Not coming up next, Ryan Graves. The pilot testified in his hearing.
I recognize the skepticism surrounding this topic. Several scenes and video that I've witnessed are now commonly. I urge this to put aside stigma and address the security and safety issues this topic represents. UAP or foreign drones is an urgent national security problem. If it is something else, it is an issue of science.
Takes a lot of bravery to come forward, especially as a member of the community, about Ryan Graves testified when his hearings on air about what he saw and has been instrumental in encouraging other pilots to speak out. Ryan right now, so much of the hearings as I read on. I'm sure it's been a few days since the hearings. Pilots feel comfortable coming to you and have you seen an increase in people coming forward, stories that have heard anything, especially in the last couple days?
Absolutely, you're correct. So, yes, there have been an influx of people coming to state and joining both. Want to support this conversation. And a lot of those pilots have shared their stories. There have been a number of commercial pilots that have recently signed up to the that I spoke about, as well as sharing news about potentially some new cases. So we certainly have a work cut out for us.
And any development since the hearings the era Dr. Patrick coming forward with this statement that I just read a couple of minutes ago, not happy about hearings, calling out the what did they make that? Here's the statement again. Maybe you can be disappointed. Were you surprised he got that statement on LinkedIn?
I'm disappointed to see him come out that way. I would be disappointed to hear that hearing in any way was a slight on any of the men that were serving at an Aero that he's working at. I don't think anyone would speak poorly to any of that staff. I think their justification for calling out Aero, their processes that they've done so far. So I hope that.
I'm just curious. You've been outspoken. You've done a lot of interviews over the years. What did it feel like testifying on the whole story many times, but did it feel different being on the record? It's obviously just such a historic moment.
It's very difficult to describe it. It was quite the experience, even just from the moment we opened that door and came out. But sitting there, it was something that I had spoken to before, and for me it was a story that I had considered a lot. It was nothing but the truth, so for me to be able to open in a way, it was almost empowering that I could show people that I was being as honest as
what do you make of Representative Gates' story about what happened?
Yeah, I thought that was very interesting. It actually reminded me very much of the fleet of objects that was seen in the vicinity of the gimbal incident. That was something that wasn't seen on the footage, but was seen on the radar data. Well, when Representative Gates spoke to that incident, more like it reminded me of the same incident. What was even more interesting is just was that what the image was not.
One thing I wondered too, I heard Dave Russell in his confidential meeting talk about in his skit in a confidential environment. Is there stuff that you know and saw that you're not able to talk about, or because it was sort of a first-hand account, how the FAT, it's all just open to the public?
Classified information relating to our classified now. However, there was no information related to the UAP or related to security classification guidelines or defined into the security classification guidelines for UAP themselves. So I was never really classified or anything like that.
Ryan, really appreciate you coming on tonight. It's really something to see you testify on Wednesday. Hopefully you've gotten a little bit of rest. It seems like you work all the time. Thanks so much for coming on.
Thank you.
So what we had for most of the long time out of UFO hearings was that UFOs may not evidence that they have even shown aggression at certain times in history. We're going to discuss that.
Someone can reach through the veil of government and pierce it to the point of we do not have access to something. You got to start asking yourself, who the hell is in the world?
Calls to Colonel Lynch, back for special coverage of the UFO hearings and Hansen also about a lot of friends and family who've been following our coverage for the last couple of months. Until I can see the evidence for myself, until I can see pictures, I really people's stories.
I get that. I mean, I feel the same. But I mean, still, even in these days of forensics, DNA evidence, I always think the right part of the justice system. So, listen to that. But yeah, Congress is working to try and validate this. I was intrigued in hearing who do we need to get in the room? With their agencies, corporations. I will give you a list of hostile and it was a great question. And you said you would do it after the hearing. I would
why would these guys top military officials? Because it makes sense. I want to play a soundbite from the Russian about potential that these UAPs could actually address as we listen to it and we'll talk about it.
I've been told that it's to bring down that we can act defensively against non-human. There have been instances where techniques or killed by non-human intelligence. While I can't get into specifics because that would reveal certain U.S. classified, I was briefed by a few individuals on the
I mean, that's scary to hear. I mean, it's scary. I mean, is this something you've been studying this for a long time, long before me? Is this something
well, the problem is a lot of this is rumored that we can't document it, so it's spectacular. But we can go back to the Red Right, 2 weekends over July, these objects would show up and then scatter. I have information I can't verify yet, but we actually lost the jet. This is very dangerous. It's no game when you scramble jets, sort of to go after something because you're flying. Right now we're talking about shot down. Burchett said he saw something that made him feel as if they had a weapon. He said they're charcoal. Right, so
what's this nuclear
nuclear power plants, missile silos and such like. And one of them, Alstrom Air Force Base in 1967, a number of the missiles, when there was a UFO over the facility, apparently went offline. Well, whatever the cause of that, there will be. And that's why it's so important. I mean, we've got questions about the Department of Energy, that's why it's important. It's also important that we get this information declassified, and of course that's one of the things going forward that's going to be in Chuck Schumer's amendment to the new defense bill.
That's what I thought. I just brought this letter out again from George Knapp, which he put into the congressional record. He talks about this advanced weapons system application program. It's this secret program that apparently Harry Reid knew about. And he's saying go back and get all those documents now, like that these Congress people need to go back and get the documents. I'm curious, Ben, you've been at a pilots conference essentially in Wisconsin for the last several days, talking to pilots. We had you on Banfield a couple of nights. What have you learned from are more pilots coming forward with stories?
Absolutely. So I got there Wednesday, so right after the hearings happened in the morning. And we had a booth, and we had a line of people, several people deep. Every 5 minutes I was getting reports from people, and some of them really extraordinary. I'm talking about stuff that I'm going to be talking to Ryan Graves this week. I'm going to be talking hopefully to Burchett. People that might become whistleblowers because some of these happened while they're on Navy ships. Some of these things happened with commercial pilots. Really extraordinary. I just need some time to vet the information because it's like drinking from a fire hose.
Yeah, it sounds like it was a long line. And you mentioned to me there was even like a U.S. Coast Guard kind of read something interesting.
There is, and I think when I finally am able to vet that, he's willing to come forward. I can say at this point it involves a USO, underwater submerged object.
Yeah,
identified submerged object.
Which that Tic Tac video, if I'm not mistaken, almost looked like. Didn't it kind of look like it went in and out of the water at one point?
Yeah,
Is that, am I thinking of the right video?
Well, there are several. There's actually there's one where something does appear to go into the water and then come out. But absolutely, with the Tic Tac incident, there are allegations that this is this so-called trans-medium travel, the apparent ability of these objects, whatever they are, to move seamlessly, say, between space and the atmosphere and underwater, and in reverse.
And the thing with the Tic Tac is, again, some of my friends, where did you know where that video came from? Yeah, we knew it actually came from the military. Like, you can't dispute where the video came from. That's obviously one of the most alarming ones. Don't go anywhere. We have more questions for you, more time with you in a minute. We hear so much about this, this in the hearings, and we hear what happened in the hearings, and we haven't gotten a lot more information on the outside from what's happening next. We're going to talk to our next guest who is all about this, literally wrote the story, are standing by with us. What he's learning from sources, stuff. If there's one person who deserves a ton of credit for sparking recent interest in UFOs that led to hearings, it is our next guest. Investigative journalist Ross wrote the David Rush story right here on News Nation about 2 months ago. Ross joins us live now. It's always good to see you, Ross. First of all, I know you've got sources in Congress. What are your sources saying about the possibility of another
At the moment, what's been achieved here is significant media attention. It's refreshing and certainly bipartisan approach being made by different politicians on both sides of the House. But what I'm hearing is that for a public hearing to take place, which is a very different secure, sensitive, information facilities, in order for that kind of public hearing to take place, an inquisitorial hearing, people are subpoenaed, asked to give evidence under oath, first-hand witnesses from the legacy program. It really does require the Senate Intelligence Committee, and particularly Senator Kirsten Gillibrand, the Senator, to step up and heed growing public opinion on this issue. I'm pretty confident that she's certainly motivated to do that, but I'm aware that there's a significant pushback going on at the moment from the Defence Department and the intelligence community, who frankly do not not want the sterilising disinfectant of sunlight on some of the issues that we're talking about.
Tell me about the pushback, because it sounds like when you talk to Bernardo, this is just the beginning, we're going to have more hearings. What are you hearing about how did that work?
Right, as you know, David Rush has raised very serious allegations of possible criminality, certainly illegality, certainly misappropriation of government funds. Visitors have been misled. Really doesn't get much and that's why people like AOC, Senator Marco Rubio, were talking the House about the importance of accountability, of restoring confidence over these programs, if they are real, to make sure that they fully comply with requirements. And the difficulty is there are people who are obviously responsible for this, who are presumably in very high positions in both the intelligence community, and who also alongside some of our biggest aerospace contractors. I've just had a conversation this morning with somebody who approached me on behalf of a witness
disclosure comes out, a lot of people, you know, might kind of miss what we said, right? So that's a distraction. But I think that strategy is exploding. So one of the things out right now, I think the rational thing to do is slowly release this. So like I said, I can't put it back. So already history books, but it might take a while.
And that makes me think of COVID, like when they hid stuff from us, you know, and they want to tell us everything. It's like, you know,
we were told completely opposite things on something we knew a lot about, the pandemic. We've been planning for pandemics. But look at this, but we know so little about something such as this, and who are the experts? If this comes out, there's going to be mass confusion, potential, and I think they need to stay ahead of it.
Or is it possible that social media, we move from one story to the next, we have about 30 seconds left, but is it possible that people just possibly...
I think so, but I think based point about COVID, you know, societal panic, we saw it. And, you know, when you panic, you don't make good decisions, whether it's government, health authorities, the media, or the public.
Nick Pope, Ben Hansen, you both have helped us process all of this for the last couple of months. Thank you so much for coming on tonight.
Thanks, Brian.
Really appreciate it. You know, it's crazy to think about days of the wheat we vetted it. We vetted him. That we were going into uncharted territory. I don't think any of us expected, just 55 days later, we would be covering congressional hearings. But here we are. What feels like a moment. We could be up on the cusp of learning a lot more. The News Nation, hopefully you figured it out. We have no agenda. We're not a network. We're a new network, born out of new to be different. Thanks so much for watching.
What triggers that chain of events is the force that rules the cosmos. Gravity. Scientists used to think of gravity as some kind of mysterious power that objects like the sun project across space. But what if it's space itself that gives gravity its pull? That's the way one man saw it. To Albert Einstein, space is a bendable four-dimensional fabric he called space-time. And gravity? That's the warping of the fabric by massive bodies. They literally put a dent in space-time. Objects get caught in their groove and simply drop into orbit. Einstein's theory was a radical notion, all the more when taken to its extreme. Just how warped could space get? Scientists found the answer in a singular class of star, more than 25 times the mass of our Sun. It's earned its name, a red supergiant. This star will live only a few million years, a fraction of our own Sun's lifespan. Deep inside, the crush of gravity sends temperatures soaring above a billion degrees. Lighter elements fuse into heavier ones. Hydrogen becomes helium, becomes carbon, on up to oxygen. The core grows so heavy it bubbles in itself. The star digs itself deeper into space-time as a black hole forms at its center, and the giant goes supernova. When the dust settles, what's left is a black hole, an object a million times the mass of Earth, a million times smaller. A black hole is literally a puncture in the fabric of space-time. Venture closer, and gravity becomes a riptide. It's like riding a raging river that's pulling you faster and faster toward a waterfall. The closer you get, the stronger the current. You're headed for a point of no return. In cosmic terms, it's called the event horizon. Over this edge, there's no escape, not even for a beam of light. And yet, they are altogether complex. Astronomers have actually detected dozens of black holes in our galaxy. They estimate there are tens of millions more. But then gravity doesn't stop there. It turns out there's a whole black hole out there. Peering into galaxies beyond our Milky Way, astronomers have found that nearly every one harbors an immense black hole at its center. One galaxy steals the show. It's called M87, and it's got a black hole 4 billion times the mass of our sun. It has left its signature, a powerful jet erupting out at nearly the speed of light. Where does a hole this ferocious come from? To find out, turn back 14 billion years to the beginning of the universe. The Big Bang. Matter and energy rush outward as the universe expands. Supermassive black holes came from. Scientists have reproven zero times with supercomputer simulations. They can trace the long, steady process that formed galaxies. From the star, gravity rings in the cosmos. It draws together the primary gases. As they grow more and more dense, they heat up. Over millions of years, they become hot enough to ignite. The first they end their lives supernovas, while their cores collapse into black holes. Millions of years later, and across billions of light years, Swift is today's standard evidence for these same early supernovas. Became of those black holes that formed in their wake. Astronomers believe some grew huge by plowing their way to the centers of their host galaxies, with a gorged and rich supply of gas and stars. Some black holes grew long and stiff, and they crossed paths with others. This scientific simulation traces the collision of galaxies, a drama that plays out the two galaxies become one. Black holes in the center merge into a single powerhouse of staggering size. Gas hurtling in gets jammed, heats up, and erupts in ferocious waves. Blast waves from supermassive black holes can stretch for thousands of light years into space. They emulate the framework of the new galaxy, soaking in size and shape, and stocking it with something unexpected. Black holes usually one of the chief ways galaxies get seeded with elements generated by stars, with carbon, oxygen, and iron, the stuff of solar systems, and us. So, how did our galaxy gather on this? Astronomer Andrea Ghez wants to know, have we got supermassive black hole of our own? For more than a decade, she and her team have been coming to the heights of Hawaii's to find out. Working at the giant Keck telescope, Andrea is tracking a strange presence in the center of our galaxy. A group of stars is swirling around her, and she's plotting their speeds, projecting their orbits. Her telescope is so powerful it can peer through the thick of the Milky Way, through 26,000 light-years of cosmic dust, all the way to the stars at the galactic center. Whatever's got them in its grip, it's accelerating the ones closest at speeds of up to 3 million miles per hour. Given that, Andrea and her team calculate that the culprit weighs in at almost 4 million times the mass of our Sun. Solid evidence that at the exact center of our galaxy lurks a supermassive black hole.
So that every employee understands the nature of this invaluable resource, what follows is a somewhat simplified overview of the xenomorph's life cycle. Variations from this cycle are addressed in other sections of Wayland County's files where applicable. For the purpose of this simplification, findings of the USCSS Prometheus have been omitted, and the details of Covenant transmission remain classified.
We're losing Charlie.
First discovered by Executive Officer Kane in the cargo hold of a derelict alien ship on MW3 in 2192. His initial stage of the xenomorph was roughly 1 meter in height, ovoid, and led with 4 petal-like lips at the sockets. Like a reptile, the leathery shell requires a moist environment to replenish albumin and external heat to develop properly. Residents like Maria shows an internal structure much like a reptile's egg, an amniotic cavity, a yolk, and a sac to support life. Supply hydration and shock absorption. Besides remarks on the human heat of the cargo hold, Officer Kane also described a kind of field surrounding the eggs, consisting of direct lights and mist. It has been theorized to take on a kind of stasis stored by a host larger than the recombinant embryo. Uploads from Executive Officer Kane's suit show that the eggs were at least partly translucent, describing movement of organic light within. The astronomer waited for 5 days, so there was no speculation for flight. However, the team noted that the alien ship seemed to have crashed or set down decades or possibly centuries before, and at least one of the aliens still active in 2079 when the MW3 colony was invented. Uploaded images from the atmosphere processor on MW3 show a number of eggs in the Queen's chamber. Based on the investigating marine equipment, recorded a temperature of 29 degrees Celsius with 83% humidity. Aboard the USM Enrico, the newly laid eggs differed slightly from those previously recorded data, Hard data on these eggs is still unavailable, but anecdotal evidence suggests an egg hatches more aggressively when placed near living hosts. Optimum incubation temperature recorded aboard the Auriga was 30 degrees Celsius, with a humidity of 85%. While adult xenomorphs are remarkably resilient to extreme environmental conditions, the eggs appear to require environment. Xenomorph eggs incubate in hot and humid environments. Executive Officer Kane describes them as whole. While they may appear dormant, all xenomorph eggs should be considered viable and dangerous. Immediate placement in stasis is highly recommended. Inside the egg, the pale, spider-like taste bud is formed. It serves as a delivery system for the xenomorph embryo in a complex process known as opposition. Successful opposition requires not only finding the right host, but also avoiding the host's natural defense mechanisms. Based on it has 8 tri-jointed digits and a long prehensile tail in order to attach to its host. The ovipositor, or fleshy tube through which the creature implants a host, is located anteriorly. Filtering sacs on either side of its body ensure the environmental control over the host once the facehugger is engaged. The organism's purpose is singular, to impregnate, but to do so the creature must attach itself to an appropriate host and keep the host viable long enough for the second stage xenomorph to develop. Aboard the Nostromo, artificial person and science officer Ash noted that the facehugger that attacked Executive Officer Kane fed him a cyanose-based paralytic substance and chemically suppressed his immune system in order to implant the parasite's embryo. The creature also filtered the toxic atmosphere of LV-426 to provide oxygen to Kane. Ash believed the organism was able to determine and mimic the host's atmospheric needs in order to keep him alive. However, there is no corroborating evidence, as Kane's implantation is the only recorded instance of a host being attained in a toxic environment. Colonist medtechs at Hadley's Hope also noted the paralytic chemical fed to the host and discovered this immunosuppressive substance released by the facehuggers related to an azathioprine. The colonist's first recorded attempt to remove a facehugger from the implantation process resulted in the death of the host, although implantation was prevented and the facehugger survived. Several facehuggers were captured by the colonists on LV-426 prior to embryonic delivery. Anecdotal reports suggest that the facehugger can survive for at least 120 hours outside the eggs without implanting. Based on the containment timestamps of Hadley's Hope's recorded testimony of USCM Captain D. Brackett, unsubstantiated reports from the Auriga tell us that no longevity tests were performed. The facehuggers are not self-sustaining organisms. Upon completing their single purpose, implantation of a xenomorph embryo, they expire. While the xenomorph egg apparently requires a warm and moist environment to incubate, facehuggers seem to thrive in a variety of atmospheric and environmental conditions. Though small, the facehugger is exceptionally strong. Quick and tenacious, it is able to overwhelm and impregnate an adult human on its own. After delivery of the necrotrophic embryo, the facehugger stays attached to the host until implantation is secure. Times range from 20 minutes to 16 hours. It is unknown how the facehugger receives the signal to disengage from the host, although scant evidence implies a recombinant plasmid chemical pulse. Its summiferous purpose fulfilled, the facehugger then crawls away to die. The host often wakes shortly thereafter and does not appear to be aware of the implantation. After effects noted include a sore throat and a slight temperature. All recorded variations of facehuggers are capable of expelling acid. The creature encountered by the crew of the Nostromo melted through Kane's face shield in seconds to gain access to a suitable orifice. Aboard the USS Sulaco, a facehugger carrying a queen embryo similarly assessed Ellen Ripley's hypersleep chamber. Records from Hadley's Hope suggest that initial attempts to contain the facehuggers failed, resulting in several deaths. The LV-426 colonists finally enclosed the specimens in an alkaloid macrolide water bath, which apparently rendered their acid ineffective. Containers were also made of whaley plutonium med-grade tempered glass. Science Officer Ash was the first to suggest that the xenomorph XX-121's blood is fluorine-based. When the AP attempted to remove the facehugger from Kane, the organism bled a highly caustic compound that subsequently ate through two full decks of the Nostromo. At Hadley's Hope, an undetermined number of colonists were burned or killed in attempts to remove implanting facehuggers. All stages of xenomorph XX-121 exhibit this biology. The nymph stage of the xenomorph grows inside a host body. Current and best theories suggest that the embryo borrows from the host genome even as it is being implanted, incorporating the host's genetic material into its own makeup. Combined with the immunosuppressive chemicals released by the facehugger, this further protects the organism from the host's natural defenses. In a matter of hours, the creature has directly absorbed the nutrients it will need to kickstart its accelerated growth. The growth period inside the host ranges from 4 to 20 hours, depending on the xenomorph type being carried. Evidence suggests that gestation time also varies not only by host type, but by individual hosts. Metabolism and environment both appear to be influencing factors as well. As it grows from embryo to nymph, the organism begins to take on the traits of its host while maintaining its own genetic intent. Its skin is pale and translucent. From collected scans, we see the inner pharyngeal jaws of the adult forming within 1 hour of implantation. Note also the long eyeless skull, the rudimentary extremities, and the development of the muscular tail. There are no scans available for this stage of the quadruped variant recorded at Fiorina 161, and no further documented tests have been carried out with non-human hosts. Reports and captures from Fiorina 161 suggest the physiology of the host strongly affects in the hatching xenomorph.
We believe this is because the XX121 embryo employs a gene targeting to introduce point mutations, borrow from and add into the host's DNA to restructure its own. Considering the ease with which the chestburster earned its name, it has been theorized that the implant releases an enzyme to soften the bone and tissue that surround it, but chem panels taken from colonists on LB426 are inconclusive. Data from USM Auriga is incomplete. When the necrotrophic nymph is strong enough, it begins to bite its way out, simultaneously uncoiling and then flexing its tail. The host invariably dies from massive traumatic shock and hemorrhage. The chestburster automatically seeks isolation. Observations aboard the Auriga confirm that within seconds of breaking free of its host, the organism searches for an uninhabited space in which to develop unmolested. The xenomorph matures rapidly, reaching its adult size within hours. From Ellen Ripley's deposition in 2179, it got big, fast. It shed its skin like a snake. We thought it would still be the same size as it was when it hatched from Cain, but it grew. We found one of its skins while we were searching. Please note there were no records on the growth process from Hattie's Hope. From the serpent-like creature that erupted from Cain's chest, until Ellen Ripley forcibly ejected it from the shuttle Narcissus, the xenomorph grew considerably. Ripley described the final, presumed adult stage she witnessed. It was giant, over 2 meters tall, humanoid in form but with a long, segmented tail. There were these skeletal ridges extending off its back, like spines or maybe pipes. Its skin was hard, black and shiny, like a beetle's shell, and it looked organic, but mechanical too. It had claws. The head was elongated, eyeless, and it had 2 sets of jaws, one inside the other. Its teeth, they were like stainless steel. Drones and the Queen are capable of secreting a substance not unlike the webbing of a spider, a proteinaceous silk that hardens upon drying. Images of hosts encased or partially encased in resin from LB426 show that, like spider silk, hardened resin is relatively elastic while maintaining exceptional strength. The Hattie's Hope's hive's walls were literally dripping with this resin. It seems likely that the xenomorphs were adapting the environment to better accommodate the hive, but data from the Auriga suggests that territorial marking may also have been at play. The adult xenomorph excretes copious amounts of the saliva-like substance, which we believe to be the source of the resinous webbing the creatures use to build their hives. Company scientists are eager to acquire a sample of this unusual material in order to study its specific chemical properties. This exoskeletal structure is unique for a land-based organism the size of the adult xenomorph. To support the weight, the exoskeleton is extremely dense, adding to the creature's natural defenses. The drones appear to communicate with one another through animalistic hissing and screeching, although pheromonal and telepathic communications have not been ruled out. Exact figures have not been attained, but the adult xenomorph is estimated to have a bite strength of approximately 6,000 pounds per square inch. When injured or damaged, the xenomorph bleeds acid. How the organism's blood works exactly was slated to be tested aboard the Auriga. Even if the scientists had survived to document results, however, the data would have been suspect, as the Queen alien's purity was corrupted by human DNA. Regardless, it is clear that specific measures need to be taken to avoid injuring the xenomorph at close range. Several colonists and marines were splashed by xenomorph blood on LB426 and were extensively burned. The xenomorph aboard the Auriga was sacrificed by its own counterparts so that its acidic blood would augment escape for the other captives. The need for this action may have been imparted by the Queen, who was confirmed elsewhere on the vessel. The drone made no clear attempt to protect itself, supporting the theory that, like some insects, the xenomorph's instinct to serve the hive is greater than its instinct for individual survival. Obviously, specimens at any stage will need to be contained in a carefully prepared environment. The adult xenomorph, encountered by Ellen Ripley in 2122, aggressively searched for hosts. It used the ventilation system to move about and attack the crew 1 or 2 at a time. When the Nostromo was set to self-destruct, the creature hid itself in an escape shuttle. Clearly, the specimen displayed tactical intelligence and a strong survival instinct. Some theorize that there are more variations in the xenomorph than we currently know. Worker, attendant, soldier, drone. It seems likely that the xenomorph has role. Note these slightly smaller head faces with the drones 6, 7, 9. It is postulated that between the lead them, the drones need less strong. As with hive or nest insects, the xenomorph's primary instinct is to protect the queen and her brood. If the hive or queen is threatened, the xenomorph will willingly engage in confrontation where it has no chance of survival. It is also possible that in the absence of the queen, a single drone will worker If true, this indicates a certain level of intelligence that is not only associated with the so-called drone. The individual will have to complete a complicated series of tasks to gain a safe and secret hive. Granted, all may be distinction, but strong, lone xenomorph with extreme variables of problem-solving skills. On LV-426, the attacking drones apparently have the power to distinguish French. While it is possible that this was under the Queen's direction, drones lack intelligence. At Eureka 161, the single xenomorph did not exhibit the same skills. The specimen was distressed and attacked traps. We therefore theorize that the fact that its host is a poorly animal, dog, or possibly bird animal, influences the creature's intelligence. Alternatively, it is possible that the presence of gestated queens for problem-solving intelligence necessary. This would suggest that through an as-yet unknown trigger, or a series of triggers, the appropriate task is chosen from environmental cues. The queen stands between 4 and 5 meters tall and bears a crescent crown measured over 2 meters wide at the top. Like the drone, she has a second set of jaws and muscular barbed tail on its defense. The queen also has a secondary pair of wrapped wings. The xenomorph is much larger than the drone and possesses exceptional strength. Attendant workers assist the wrapped queen as her movements are limited by her connection to the reproductive system. The benefits of this external system are obvious, and as needed. It produces at the top a massive external layer which can detach at will. The purpose of the queen's bag may be to provide power to engage in egg production. Using whether she performs them herself or if they are furnished by the woman. It is not clear how the queen is created. It is possible that the xenomorph is created so that in absence one or more of the eggs will develop queen embryos. As hope may have generated several queens. This would imply that all eggs contain genetic code for the division. Or alternately that the drone xenomorph is capable of becoming one. Data supports obligated parthenogenesis, that is, that the xenomorph reproduces exclusively through asexual means. But until adult specimens with double X121 can be properly studied, it is possible to classify whole legions of method reproduction. Parallels have been drawn between the xenomorph and a number of species, including wasps, spiders, ants, termites, lizards, and frogs. In fact, xenomorph double X121 reflects traces of all these organisms. Tarantula hawk wasps lay their eggs inside a living paralyzed host. Spiders create their own materials to trap living prey. Ants and termites are social. Their hives or nests based upon a specialized caste system with the reproductive queen as a sexual activity. And many reptiles and frogs are capable of sexual reproduction. The xenomorph, however, is unique to biology. The queen is the apex to that singularity. The queen is the next level. However, the hive cannot survive. Intelligence is clearly indicated. Obviously, the queen workers have communication curves set up for debate. Thermal inheritors are a strong possibility, although the human-alien hybrid clone or the reason for the strong hive connection. Certainly, we cannot that possibility. However, until given the opportunity, at the time, our understanding of the possibility understanding the value of the xenomorph is vital. Autonomy is synonymous with innovation and progress. Our commitment to studying the alien is based not only on financial gain, but on maintaining the reputation of ability through its unerring dedication to the advancement of humanity.
pilots all over the world officially deny the existence of UFOs.
I was called upon to investigate a very strange event.
Other encounters.
We have taken them. Taking fire! Kill confirmed.
Especially when it appears that an unidentified threat has compromised national security.
My training prepared me for what I was with.
As is a case that's become known as Britain's drop.
There was a bright light emanating from an object on the floor.
Two strange encounters of the same mysterious lights on two separate occasions in 1980. Said Air Force troops in Britain stranded. What made using the latest technology.
I think it's safe to say.
For the first time, definitive answers about whether U.S. forces actually witnessed UFO landings at MW3 Air Force Base in December of 1980. This is case number 80101, military versus UFO. Alleged UFO sighting stood high because it was witnessed by numerous officials.
Britain's next known UFO sighting occurred in 1980.
This UFO was seen on two separate consecutive occasions. That doesn't have UFO. This is in 1980, another one in 1980 at the Soviet had been. Europe, so the war was on the weapon. So at that point, that's where this object appears over all dead waters. The secure U.S. military base.
They must have some.
What the skeptics believe is that there was a lighthouse in the distance, the lighthouse was maybe flashing in the distance, and these soldiers were somehow confused by the lighthouse, and they thought it was UFO. I don't believe that. That's not. These are hard-hitting individuals. How will they think it's a lighthouse? I mean, it makes sense.
Sounds like an interesting scenario, guys. We can model that. We can do our experiments. We can take GPS coordinates to various site positions, lighthouse, get the cover around, build a model, and see if that hypothesis holds.
Either it was a lighthouse, that could have been a lighthouse. Either way, this will be a phenomenal piece of proof as to whether that theory holds up. Let's see if it does. So we're going to membership? Look at this.
Nice.
Headquarters, a U.S. Air Force base in India, located across Nick Cole joined the military in 1985.
Between 1991 and 1994, my job was to investigate UFO sightings to see whether there was evidence of anything of any defense.
Project B. The object maneuvers a venom pilots report claims their own rights, seemingly under intelligent control.
The incident was investigated at the time, but once the air traffic controllers had been interviewed, the pilots had been interviewed, the statement was taken, just as
Belgium. Deerset Air Force Base detects something on radar. 19 police officers spot the crash. Triangular object reported to be close to the powerful searchlights. Witnesses report the object seems to be useless except for its spot. 2.5 hours later, it disappears. Colonel William Moore of the Belgian Air Force scrambles 2 F-16 interceptors.
La station Gladad a été contactée plusieurs fois pour demander s'ils avaient des observations au radar.
It moves erratically with an acceleration of 46 Gs. The object disappears.
in all these cases involving pilots seeing UFO, tracking them on radar, could be viewed from end to end. I think it would make a compelling case for the reality of the UFO phenomenon. Because when you have that combination of the professional, the reliable observer, and the evidence from radar backing up that testing, you are making a very, very compelling case.
But once you get up to this whole military factor of UFOs, it's a whole law.
During this search, the Ministry of Defense Interpol investigated between 200 and 300 new reports of UFOs each year. Experienced UFO investigators in the country.
I think that one of the most important UFO sightings of all time is the Rendlesham Forest incident, which occurred right here on the scale of UFO cases. It's right up there in terms of the significance, in terms of the evidence. I mean, this has sometimes been called Britain's Roswell.
Security police at RAF Woodbridge, a British Air Force base located next to RAF Bentwaters, report seeing an unknown light in Rendlesham Forest. At first, they believe it's a downed aircraft. Later, they realize it might possibly be something else. Sergeant Jim Henniston and 2 other officers investigate the site.
When we arrived to inspect the crash site, it quickly became apparent that we were not dealing with a plane crash or anything else we've ever responded to. There was a bright light,